You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. It is a pleasure to have you with us. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
Thought maybe you were muted there for a second.
No, you just...
There was a pause.
Yeah, you said it weird. I don't know.
That's my goal every week, is to say it differently, and by different, it just gets weirder every week, so I never know what I'm going to say. I did have a customer this week who, he's like, "Are you married?" I said, "Oh, no, I'm not." Oh, well, so his deal, he had a $25 gift card to the Olive Garden that he wanted to trade me for some back issue comics. At least, in my favor. He would do it. He wasn't going to go straight up just $25.
This was going to get you in good with the little lady.
Yeah, so that was his thing. Like, I would not want to eat pasta alone as a sad middle-aged man by myself. But if I had a woman to impress, then I think the deal would have gone through. But
he was going to get you laid. He thought, what is going to appeal to this guy? I'm going to get some comics out of him.
Never-ending breadsticks. LLNEB. Ladies love the breadsticks.
That's right.
So he thought, then immediately after I said I wasn't married, I was like, oh, well, this deal never happened.
It's not going to work.
He left totally deflated and with no books.
Well, he bought a chunk of books and then wanted a discount. Wanted to make sure I was giving him the best bargain. Most of them were $2 a piece, but he wanted to make sure he got some kind of deal out, even without the gift card. But small businesses, everybody. Support your local small business.
I wonder what kind of gift card he'll bring in next time. He struck out with the Olive Garden.
He'll just bring in spaghetti, right? In a pot.
I don't know, a 30-minute drive with spaghetti, it wouldn't be good after coming all the way.
Comes right in, you smell the pasta. He's like, there's no way he's going to be able to turn this down.
In this economy?
Oh my God.
If he was smart, he would have brought a Little Caesars gift card in. See that?
Oh man!
That
do they have cards?
Oh yeah.
Cards.
Little Caesars gift cards.
Mm-hmm. You can buy them at the Kroger.
I can't get them at Little Caesars?
Yeah. You get a gift card.
Wow.
They probably come in $6 increments, though. Not $5. $6 increments.
I did buy a box of books from a guy. He used to come in. He was buddies with our pal Logan ages ago. He was one of the guys who started like the skate park. One of those skater kids who's grown into like a respectable adult now. It's weird.
Right.
So he had a box of stuff, and it was filthy. I don't know where this stuff must have been in a garage or something. So if you need, there was a Boba Fett Powers of the Force figure that is covered in dust. If you need a dusty Boba Fett, I can hook you up. But he didn't want much for him, so I just thought, we'll be nice and get this. There were a couple books in there. I thought, oh, those are kind of neat, and a couple of them had I could tell they were my price tag stickers on them. So somebody bought these from me 20 years ago, dusted them all up, and then brought them back. They're coming home.
Wow.
But there was a Spider-Man. I didn't even know this book existed. It's called Soul of the Hunter, which is basically a sequel to Kraven's Last Hunt by J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck as like a 48-page one-shot. I'm like, they did a sequel to Kraven's Last Hunt? So I was like, so I put that in my own collection to read. So I'm excited. Wipe the dust off and get to it.
Yeah, I saw today. I didn't know Logan's grandpa was the former mayor of Marietta forever.
Logan's Marietta royalty.
He is. I had no idea. I feel a little. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, do I bow? Do I curtsy? What do we do now? What's the,
We could have at least worked him into our kids on bikes story.
Yeah. That
tied it all in.
Man, next time.
Already thinking how that would have worked. It would have been great. I can see you just whapping him with a shoe.
Yeah. Hey, if you haven't listened to that episode, those episodes, go back and whenever.
Wow, I can't even imagine going back and listening to those. Just put them out in the feed again. Put them out. People aren't going to go looking for them. But you just put them out.
Was that a couple years ago? How long?
I bet it's a lot longer than a couple years
ago. They're timeless because they're set in the 80s.
That's true.
Yeah.
They'll never age.
Yeah.
You can learn a little bit about the history of our area here.
Yeah.
From our point of view.
From a certain point of view, yes.
Yes.
Jared got very excited. There's some, I don't know, the Historical Society or somebody is looking for volunteers. They want to map and catalog all the grave sites of Revolutionary War soldiers.
Okay.
So Jared's like, we visited that low cemetery that's on top of a hill out in the middle of Noble County somewhere in the mid. Like Jared's like, no one would know about that grave. So he's very excited. We're gonna be able to document some grave sites.
Nice. I love a good genealogy find. Get that down. Yeah, I need to, on my vacation, I'm going to try to make a cover for my little booklet. I figured out a way to print out a booklet of that story. I make a little cover and print it out and just so give it to people here. I might take it down to one of the historical things or society, Washington County, whatever, and say, "Here, if anybody wants one of these, let them have it," or something. I don't know. I'm not trying to make any money. I'm going to lose money on this prospect, but I just want people to read it.
That's the
don't want to waste the money.
Welcome to the world of publishing.
Yeah, I don't give a crap about it. I would never. I have luckily for everyone else, I have too much imposter syndrome to think that it's worth anything other than their time. So we'll
Jordan,
see if I can get that accomplished.
You guys should do a pencil rubbing on the gravestones like on Indiana Jones with the shield.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, how far away was that? I remember you guys going.
The cemetery? It's not too far away, but it's just in the middle of nowhere, and it was up. It's like a mile up this steep hill that you maybe get a 4-wheeler up, but you could definitely not get a car up. So it's just way out of the way.
That's pretty cool.
Start our own wing down at the Washington County Library. We'll get a little corner going.
Right.
We haven't talked television in a while. There's been some pretty good stuff coming out, so we figured should catch up with what's been on the tube.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Marsha! What's up, light, yo? Yo, son, come on, yo, Omar's coming, man.
I'm Prison Mike. You know why they call me Prison Mike?
Beavis, please sit down.
Are you threatening me? I am Cornholio.
First sign of youngsters going wrong, you got to nip it in the bud. Nip it.
And I'm sitting there with Woody, and I turn to him and I go, boy, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Picture it, Sicily, 1939.
What you talking about, Willis?
Won't you please won't you be my neighbor? My neighbor.
Good afternoon, everybody. No!
What'd you watch?
So much good stuff.
I got.
What'd you watch?
I haven't watched anything on TV.
Did we ever talk about Andor?
Well,
he didn't watch it. He said he didn't watch anything on TV.
Well, that's been a while ago. I mean, I thought you meant in the last week.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Andor, yeah.
I feel like people are still talking about it. Like it's come and gone, but people are still. Oh, what if this ties to this? And here's a line from this episode in the last season. Like, people are still kind of dissecting what went on.
Yeah, it definitely got people excited. And I was surprised, like, even in, I don't know, my neck of the woods or whatever, I've heard people that normally bash anything modern Disney Star Wars. They hate it all. They hate that Disney owns it. They hate that Lucas sold it. And it's impossible that Disney could ever make anything good. Well, maybe The Mandalorian's okay. You know, that type of thing. And I heard a lot of them change their tune by the end of the series. And I was like, okay, cool, finally.
Which is, again, weird, because most... I won't say all, but like a lot of those type criticisms come down to the wokeness and how Disney wokeifies everything. And Andor's the most political, like in your face, politically charged show I can even think of.
Yeah,
they don't think they're the Empire. They think they're the rebels. They're the rebels. Don't you know? They think they're the rebels.
Yeah, that surprised me too a little bit, Jordan. Hearing some voices and as I'm listening to them talk, and I'm thinking, you don't understand this at all.
Nope.
Like, which is it's
but it's
so
not even subtle. There's
it's so in your
subtle.
face. It's so in your face. I don't know how you missed the reference. It's so relevant to what it, every day of our life right now that it's just watching it on the big screen with, funny names. So, yeah, as far as the series go, I mean, I was every
top tier, not just top Star Wars, top anything.
Yes.
It's one of the best series ever. Definitely.
Yeah,
and
season 1, 2, and then watch Rogue One. I mean,
yeah, I still haven't done the obligatory Rogue One watch, but Nick wants me to wait on him, but I'm ready to do that.
Yeah, that was my only kind of negative. Like the last 2 episodes were a bit of a letdown, where like it was such a high point. The 2 episodes before that, where everything really comes to a head, and then it was like an episode of setting up. Well, here's how we get to Rogue One. Like it had to put the pieces, because it was a prequel. It had to kind of fit its way into where it was going to end up. So I felt a little bit like, oh, this was so good and ended on such a high note that it's like, okay, now we're just moving the pieces around. But
I don't know. Those last few moments.
That's the only criticism I have was like,
those last few moments where they call that bank of episodes is 1 year before, but it obviously comes right up to the moments before, and
when he's leaving,
and when he's leaving, that we're looking around at everybody and just taking that all in. It's like it lets you. That's why I can't wait to watch Rogue One with that context of it took all these people. It's not just Andor. It was like all these people got him here, and the stuff with her, like spoilers for Andor. You've had time, but you must not care. But the whole thing with her, and seeing that he has a child, and it's like that was fulfilling to know she made this choice for the cause, also to like not tell him.
He would have never,
because he's too important, and this way he lives on in a way through this child. Like it was just so good. Like,
but it was that ending, that little shot was so surprising to me, because I had fully, you know, like, okay, she took off and she's in the wind, like gone. We'll never see her again. We're moving the camera forward. We're you know.
I just didn't believe. I thought we would. I was pretty sure we were going to see her, and they weren't going to let us not see that little red freaking droid. I was
that
like,
that would have bothered me.
Yeah, they had droid. You had to see it playing on a farm. Yeah, it had to be
he went living to a farm
on a farm.
Yeah,
and sure enough, they did it. You know, I was just like, well, that was good. It made sense that he was with her, and
yeah,
you know, that was all. That was the comfort I wanted.
I saw a thing even before they revealed the pregnancy that was like, so what if she left and it was pregnant, and then she gives birth to Poe Dameron? And that's who her.
Well, yeah, that's everybody's stupid.
Don't ever change.
People are stupid.
Yeah,
everything has to connect.
Ridiculous.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
that was great.
That is, I love Star Wars, and I love different things, you know, different aspects of it. But the rebellion part is, I mean, that is a core piece of Star Wars for me. That influenced me in a major way at a young age, to where like all the stories I love are all that story. It's a small group of rebels against a giant, you know, impossible enemy. And whether it's comic books, movies, or TV, that is my go-to. And I'm always, you know, my favorite things are those things. So yeah, it was more than satisfying to me.
Oh, my favorite. I love that character. I can't even think of her name, but the girl that's with Luthen, his daughter or whatever, you know, Dink. She was so good, and she like this is her first role or something.
Yeah, it was.
Apparently, that's why I heard like she was not supposed to be that big of a role, but like the actress did such a good job, they kept giving her more.
Incredible, and that was so good, so well done. And I was listening to an interview with Tony Gilroy just saying the reason they did that episode, giving them a past, like he wasn't necessarily would be drawn to having to say here's what happened. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't necessary to define who she was, except he wanted to be the one to do it. He's like, I don't want, you know, in 5 years or 10 years them say, okay, here's their backstory, and they loved each other or something. They were a couple, or they this or that, you know. He's like, they still could turn around and give it even more context. And the years where he was teaching her to be a, you know, insurgent, there are other stories that happened. They could do that, but at least he gave it a framework of this is what their relationship was. And I loved all that. That episode was great. They were blowing up some bridge on Naboo. I'm like, yeah, just that's amazing. That was all good. I thought she was great, but not the stars of the show are freaking Deidre and Cyril. We're bearing the lead. They're the stars. Cyril Karn growing his hair out, wearing a beret, living it up.
With like the French resistance from
he's like, I love it here. This is the greatest. I was like, just totally, and she's just like taking care of him. It's such this the dynamic, this sicko dynamic where, you know, she puts his mom in her place and all this, and it just like he's like, oh, and then when it comes to the head,
mother energy.
Oh yeah, turn the lights out, and who knows what the hell's going on. We all turn the lights back on. We want to know what's happening. And it's like, but she's like straight up fascist. She's like a full on fascist, and he's like just like in the dark and just wants to be part of something.
That's what I love. Star Wars is very black and white, good and evil. Like Darth Vader's bad because he's bad at the beginning, but like Cyril, like he was trying to solve a murder. His colleague was killed, and he wants to find out who did it, and like that makes him the bad guy somehow. Like he's just trying, and then just bad things keep happening to him. He keeps making the wrong decisions or trusting the wrong people, maybe. But like, I don't know. At his core, he's not the villain at the beginning, to me,
right?
At least.
Yeah.
And I even feel some sympathy for Dedra of like, you know, all her bosses are evil, horrible, but she's super efficient, wants to do the best job she can, and do.
But she's a fascist straight through and through, and she got what she deserves at the end. Like they just throw you away like everybody else,
right? Right. Yeah. I felt no love for either one. Like, I mean, it was compelling.
Yeah.
But I felt no pity for either one. Like, even
I
Sarah,
just love the idea.
You little incel.
Yeah.
No,
I love the idea.
Insignificant nothing of a person that thinks you're something, and at the very end when Andor looks at him and he goes, "Who are you?" It was just perfect. Like, oh yeah. I
don't even know who you are. You know, the madman. I don't think about you at all. Like I just love that and love. I mean, literally the best moment of the entire. I love the monologue from the first season and all that, but my favorite moment of the whole season was in that like second to last episode or third. Yeah, I think it was second to last. The whole thing, you know, the big thing in the courtyard, but when he's up there and he grabs her by the throat and says, "If you tell me this is rumors, I'm gonna throw you out the window." I was like, yes, that was so badass. And it's just like she's just trying to tell him, like, we're gonna have whatever we want, we'll save it. He's like, I don't even know what we did, you know. Meanwhile, she's like ordering executions for, you know, she's like, you don't understand, we're gonna have the softest comforter on the bed for you to cry your little tears into when your mom's it's gonna be great. It's just I loved that dynamic. You can have we're gonna leave here, you're gonna have all the shelves, you can put spiders everywhere. I don't care. Eat your cereal, cry in your pillow, we're gonna live it up. Yeah. I thought they were great. Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely a Star Wars first. I felt like there were many during that show, but
should have been called Luthen, or whatever his last name is. Well, I even
Luthen
call
Rail.
it Andor. It's like to me it shouldn't have been called Andor. It should have been called something. It's bigger than that. Like it's about all the people that got him to where he was in Rogue One, but I feel like the thing is, it's because it was called that. And it was thought of as a totally different idea, and then they asked Gilroy to pitch something, and his was so much more astounding. You know what he came up with. He didn't even want to do it. He said, "Yeah, I mean, come on, I would watch that." She was the best thing. They're all the best. Like I mean, I loved that end of the third episode dance sequence. Is like freaking tastic. She's so awesome, and just it's amazing how much all the resources she had. You really see it fall apart once she loses her resources, and you see how she got to looking like she did.
Right.
Return of the Jedi. Right. It was like, oh my gosh, this is her natural hair color. This is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. Every little storyline. I love the characters. But yeah, obviously Andor was name recognition. I mean, you know, you had to put something out there. If you call it, I don't know, they could have called it Rebellion or something, I suppose. But, you know, again, it's rather generic and whatever.
They went all out. Every intro was a different mix of the songs. Like, it was never anything duplicated. It was so well done. That's top tier stuff. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what beyond this, what the next thing they'll try and do now.
I can't go back. I can't go back to Mandalorian, Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
I can't go back to 80s Star Wars Amblin bullshit. I can't go back to any of that. It's just like, save it. I'm not watching that shit anymore. Like, I mean, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go watch the Mandalorian movie or watch, but it's just like it doesn't. It's not even remotely close.
Yeah,
I don't need all the I recognize that. I don't need any of that shit anymore. Like, I've seen the light.
Yeah,
get it out of here. And hopefully they learned something from this. Like,
I definitely think so. I don't think they thought it was going to be as well received or as good as, you know, speaking on Disney, as it was. But yeah, I mean, season 1 was great. I went back.
The thing is, it still isn't even as well received as, I mean, critically, but not everybody's watching it.
I've heard, in that Star Wars fan community, I've heard a lot of really positive things and not nearly as much negative as normally. Like I said, I think people really dug it, whether they understood it or not. I think the more they watched, the more some folks got it eventually. But yeah, because a lot of the first few episodes, people were just, why are they just whispering, and why aren't they doing anything? Why is it so slow? And I remember people complaining that Rogue One was slow when it came out, and like, you watch that movie.
Watching Rogue One seems like a breakneck pace compared to Andor. Like, Andor is so precise.
Yes.
And Rogue One's an action movie. It's like, holy cow, this is moving so fast.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, love it.
Well,
it doesn't hit the ubiquity of like a Baby Yoda. Everyone was watching Mandalorian when it dropped. Like,
right. That is way bigger hit.
Whatever the critics say, it still hasn't hit that level of civilian.
Definitely not.
Well, you can't merchandise the hell out of it.
Right. It's just not. That's what I mean. As much as it's great, and as much as Disney even sees this and knows that it is a critical super success, it's not
I don't think it leads.
commercial.
I don't think it changes the course of the next. I think it's its own thing, and it's a great little jewel.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
We got it all.
Yeah, my new Saw Gerrera toy isn't gonna spew Rhydonian gas from a suit or anything,
We're all worse off for that.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, they could,
do it. Hook that up. It looks like you got something going on over there. Your lights are.
Yeah, it's parties
and going nuts. Well, speaking of epic TV shows, as much as I would love to make people watch this. Like if I could right now assign you something to watch, I would make you watch this. But you guys have never seemingly been a fan of any of this, and you're probably spoiled for it anyway because it got so much media attention in the last week. But I was not spoiled for it when I watched it, and that is season 2 of The Rehearsal.
Oh yeah, I was all on it.
You watched it?
Yeah.
And you were not spoiled for that final episode?
No, I watched it on Sunday nights before Last of Us. Like I wanted to see that more.
Oh, absolutely. I never watched I always watched Rehearsal first.
I loved season 1 because it was so odd, and this season was something different, but I loved it just as much as the first season.
Well, and that final episode took it to new heights. I am blown away by what I saw. Like it almost lost me about the third episode when he just lived Sully Sullenberger's life.
Clips in a picture, a what was it? A clip
of
him in a diaper.
I have no idea what this show is. I have no idea what that clip was. I was just like, what in the world is this ridiculousness?
But when that happened, and it cuts to him in the baby makeup, I audibly was like, no. I made some kind of like, I don't want this.
Right.
It was so weird.
I agree. I that almost stopped me cold. Well, we're gonna spoil the season 2 of The Rehearsal because there's a couple things.
I was a little bummed that it was just one story, because that first season he did a couple different things, and then it became one thing. And this is like a whole season just about one topic. I don't
usually
know.
kind of ties things together,
but it kind of built well enough. Like I don't know that it needed anything else to this season. It
was amazing. But what's beautiful about it is like he actually comes up with an actual problem. It's the guy's a fucking genius. Like, I swear, to come up with this concept that feels actually relevant and worth pursuing and fixing, while also making a mockery of the whole thing and using people and abusing people along the way. But the concept of the show in general was the rehearsal is just he believes that if you rehearse something, you have the potential to do it right, to get things right. Maybe you made a mistake, you're worried about how you're going to interact with someone. Well, let's just rehearse it to death, build like elaborate sets and, practice this, and you will solve the problem. You'll get it right. And the problem he brings up is that in so many aviation disasters, it's because of the communication in the cockpit. They've listened to the black box conversations, and this is a problem. This is clearly going to be a problem. I don't know who the guy he has. Like, was that old guy somebody that had studied this also?
He's part of the aviation administration or some official that has petitioned Congress before for different things.
Right.
So a serious person was listening to him about this.
Right. And I was interested in it. He was really going on about how this was good. So the first thing he did, besides the simulation machine he had set up, which was amazing, burning crashes, like he's standing in the fire and the screen, like that was amazing opening. But he had the Wings of Voice, something like that. Was that the competition he set up?
Yeah.
He had been a part of a singing competition at some point, like producing one, and he had to tell people, let people down. But then in this, he thought, well, if he had pilots, he creates this fake singing competition and has pilots, co-pilots and pilots turn people down, tell them they're not good enough, have them judge them. And if they can get used to, I think the idea is if you can get used to giving people bad news, then in the cockpit, maybe you'll be more likely to actually tell your co-pilot or pilot, hey, you might be doing something wrong here, and then there won't be some terrible thing because they're able to communicate, which is just like the craziest freaking idea. Why would you do this? Like, why is this your answer? But he's basing it on his own experience. Like, I don't know. But yeah, that third episode where he decided one of the best examples of somebody doing the right thing in the cockpit was Sully Sullenberger, the Miracle in the Hudson. And so he decides, well, the only way he's going to be able to get into his head is to just relive his life. Oh my gosh.
Dissects his memoir.
Oh,
has highlighters amazing. And pages of stuff, like just figures out where he went to school, who his friends were, how he met his wife, just like crazy.
Apparently whether he breastfed or not. That was so crazy. It had people on stilts, so he was it was like, I kept thinking of Gandalf and stuff like how the perspective trying to make him seem small like a baby, or so all these huge things was so ridiculous. Obviously, he's going for the ridiculous there, but relives his life. Ultimately, he determined, using the black box recordings and stuff, that there was a 23-second time from when the co-pilot was trying to talk to him and he didn't say anything, and I won't go through how he came to this conclusion, but ultimately he believed that he had put his AirPods in and was listening to the chorus of "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence. And it's almost plausible. He almost convinces you that is what happened. And so it was, mid-season there, it was starting to lose me. I was like, okay, I don't know what we're doing, what ultimately we're doing, but eventually we get there. And in that final episode, again, if you're interested, you should stop and not listen to this. and go watch it because the payoff's pretty great. He ultimately, so basically, there's the only way he's going to be able to, really get in these people's heads and experience this is to fly a commercial plane. And we get a flashback to 2 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, is this happening? Where he begins to study to be a pilot. And he isn't even good at it. He's one of the worst learners of it, the slowest learners they've ever had, these instructors, which is amazing. And he sticks with it. The guy is obviously smart and very dedicated to his shit. I'm just curious on that timeline. I mean, it had to have been that long for him to have got that much experience in those hours. And it's like, was he telling this to people? Like when he made the curse with Emma Stone, he has to be practicing. Is he telling other people he's doing this, or is he like really just keeping it on the down low for this payoff?
Some chair flights. He'd be sitting in the corner doing chair flights.
Yeah. And he eventually ends up getting his license for a 737 and jumping through the hoops to be able to fly it. He can't fly actual passengers, but he can fly actors. And so he asked the actors if they'd like to be a passenger to plane, 150 of them. And the one guy says, has anybody turned you down? And he's like, no. He's like, actors, just like, they're so stupid. And that guy's on that fucking plane.
He's on the plane.
He's just like, I can't believe I'm one of these guys because there's a potential of exposure here. Like he knows that they're not going to turn down. They'll literally risk their lives being on his first flight of a 737. And he freaking does it. He flies them and like has his co-pilot and tries to, create a situation where, okay, now he's a pilot and he wants this open conversation. He wants to tell who this guy's like an ideal co-pilot anyway. The guy is super nice and willing to communicate and says he would tell you, But so we don't get that magic moment maybe that's would have been
a little worried.
The one thing it's missing.
There was no real drama in the last episode. Like they didn't almost crash or anything. So I'm like, if there had been, people would have assumed it was fake. Like if there was anything,
we would have heard about it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just the idea, like he was like trying to role play with that guy and say like, I'm Mr. Interested, and just trying to get and the guy was listening to him, understanding what he's saying, and saying this. He's trying to have a better footing of how we should have good communication. Maybe these pilots shouldn't be meeting right before a flight, and there should be more things paid attention to that. Maybe by doing this show, and he's going to, get that across. But the other layer to the whole thing is the discussion of the study of whether or not he has autism, which is amazing.
That, to me, was fascinating. Where like he learns. The show has become popular. The first season became popular with the autistic community.
Yeah.
This idea of masking and learning to get by in society and maybe faking your way through things. And a lot of those people do have to rehearse things. How do you interact at an airport? How do you deal with, customer service things? So like it really clicked a nerve with people who are autistic or people who help and teach or train autistic people. And then it just became this whole subset of like, wait a minute. And him having to be like, wait, am I? So like he goes to do these tests and it's like, these bells keep ringing of like, so it's him dealing with some inner turmoil as well. And I thought the way that ended was phenomenal.
Oh, it was amazing. And the idea that, again, pointing out such a major flaw with the airlines that a pilot could never ever check a box or say that they've had any kind of issue at all. They could never be honest because it could get them grounded, and that that's terrible. Like you have to be able to get the therapy you need and things so you can do a good job, but they're just so worried if you say anything, well, you're just grounded and you've lost your livelihood. And so that's something that needs addressed. But like you said, like even at the end, he's struggling. Like, how do I check this box or don't I? And then he ultimately is just, it's like they wouldn't let if there was something wrong with somebody, they wouldn't let them fly. So, and I'm flying, so I must be okay. It was like, wow, just so many levels to it. And still, ultimately, throughout, they're still having the Wings of Voice contest. And all through the series, every time you see them doing the contest, they're singing Amazing Grace because it's got to be, something that's, what do they call that?
Public domain.
Yeah, public domain that you can sing. So they're singing 100 different versions of Amazing Grace, which is amazing. So when they finally they show the people, the finalists, and they're about to announce the winner, and they announce the girl, and they give her the flowers and everything. And it's amazing. She won Wings of Voice, and she's going to go over and sing a song, and I'm expecting Amazing Grace, but no. It was the greatest thing ever. She sings Bring Me to Life. And I was just like, this is a masterpiece. I've seen nothing like this. This guy keeps outdoing himself. I'm so impressed. I was so impressed. It was amazing.
It's different than normal TV you might be watching, but I think it's definitely worth checking that out.
He makes you think, and he really brings in his humor. He brings up real issues that he makes them humorous, but he has actual points that need addressed, and I was really impressed. I loved it. Oh, that show with John Goodman ended. It's finally over. And yes, I'm talking about The Connors, season 7. It's over. I watched that entire series.
Really?
I watched it right to the end. I was always a Roseanne fan, that show, and when they got rid of her and went on with The Connors, I was like, it was a comfort show, like just one of those. It never had to be much. I always liked the vibe, and I watched the entire 7 seasons, and it wasn't fantabulous, but I watched it. It had a good little sad ending. But also, Righteous Gemstones ended, I guess. Nobody's too torn up about that.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So I didn't really need a whole lot more, but
no, I'd had my limit.
Yeah. No, I liked the last season. I was good with it. How it ended. Spoilers for that last season, but yeah, at times I was like, oh, this is I don't know. The whole show was ridiculous, so it was right on par with that. But yeah, like them getting shot and crawling around the house kind of cracked me up in the last episode. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I didn't feel like it really wrapped up a lot as far as that went, but it wrapped up the season storylines, I guess, but not the show as a whole. I kind of thought, but yeah, I mean, somewhere out there, I guess, Baby Billy's still making TV shows, and
I swear I laughed every time he said Teengus. Teengus now. It's Teengus. It just made me laugh. That delivery just made me laugh every time.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. Yeah, I had enough. I was glad to have that last season, but I'm done.
They are too.
Yeah, good.
Well, sticking to Sunday nights on HBO, The Last of Us season 2. I really like season 1. I have no connection to the video games. I have no preconceived notions. I know people have been really giving Bella Ramsey a hard time online and complaining about this, that, and the other,
they're
like
stupid.
every fan does. But I was curious of your take on season 2. I haven't liked it as much as the first season. It just hasn't quite grabbed me.
Yeah. My perspective, I played both of the games and really, really liked both of them. That's not necessarily the consensus. Everybody likes the first game, and they usually think the second game went too crazy. But I loved the second game. I thought it did go crazy, and I liked it. And it was this story, except Abby was like a slightly different character. I think it was implied. I'm not sure whether it was clear or implied that she was trans, but she was definitely very buff, and so she's not in this show, but a lot of the beats are exactly the same. In fact, it feels like it's on fast forward compared to the game. Like they just are like, they left Jackson and boom, they're in Seattle in like no time, and that's crazy. But they perfectly redid the aha song moment, and so many other moments are just like beat for beat.
Yeah, there's been several moments, me having no familiarity with the game, me saying, I bet that's from the game. Like,
right, yeah.
Certain shots or certain things they've done, I'm like, that has to be a reference to make the fans happy. Like, it's some pretty obvious moments.
Golf club.
And there's a lot of stuff of like, oh, she goes into a warehouse full of goons to, buy her. It's like, okay, that makes sense during a video game, but as a TV show, it's like, is our main character dumb? It's like, this is not a good idea.
There's so much killing in the game because it's a video game. You're like, she's going around constantly murdering everybody. So what seems like hardcore in the show is like, and you've killed so many people by the time you get to do something. It's like, seems like, yeah, of course you're gonna kill them. I don't know. I think it's fine. I really like the flashback episode, obviously, that where because this is straight from the game. The whole astronaut thing, that's a big thing from the game, and I just liked all the communication between the two of them, and the flashback to his dad, and just thought that was really well done. And
when you see his dad coming up to enter the door,
mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, what famous Latino actor is this going to be? Like, I knew it had to be somebody. Like, we're getting to every good Latino actor. It's like, oh, it's Lalo, awesome. So I knew it was going to be somebody good.
He was great. It's good. I like it. I like Bella. I like it all. I just feel like it's on fast forward, and I did not like the way this necessarily how it ended. Like, I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew they did day 1, 2, 3 in Seattle, and in the game you play as both characters. You play as Ellie and you play as Abby, and eventually they come together at the end of the game, and like that's what they're doing here. And so we'll start out next season with day 1, 2, 3 with Abby, I'm sure, and I mean, which ultimately is like crazy because it's it's going to be over a year and a half till we even get the next season, and then you're basically not going to get Bella Ramsey. You're going to be starting with Abby for who knows how long into that season. I really just didn't like my main thing. I didn't like the gunshot fade to go to black. Like nobody believes that she killed her. Like why even do that? That was stupid. But that thing with the pregnant girl and that guy, this is straight out of the game. Like they were doing it. I don't know. I like the game better, but the show's pretty good. It's no rehearsal. Her Face is back. Do you watch that?
What?
The Ryan Johnson Columbo show with Natasha Lyonne. That's a good show.
No, I'm not on the.
Not on the Peacock.
Peacock.
Gotta ride the cock. Cliff, I was gonna suggest something to you. You like Nona's, right?
Yeah, it was all right.
Little Netflix comfort show. Did you watch 4 seasons?
No, I did not. My wife did, I think, or daughter. I have not watched any much of anything. Period.
Just Disney stuff. You're just watching Disney YouTube.
Yes,
straight up.
It's been busy. We've had high school graduations and parties planning and party goings and a whole bunch of stuff. So no, I haven't watched anything. I feel like.
Well, anyway, I watched it. It was kind of a comfort show. It had likable people. It was based on an Alan Alda movie from the 70s or whatever. But this had like Steve Carell and Tina Fey and Will Forte and Coleman Domingo, and it's just a good, pleasant show.
Yeah, I think they renewed it for another season.
Oh,
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, I believe
I
that.
knew Alicia, I think, watched it. She's watched that and whatever the John Hamm show is on Apple.
Oh yeah, Friends and Neighbors. I watched that.
So yeah, she really liked that show. I didn't watch it though.
Chekhov's Trunk. They do this thing in that show with his trunk. He's a guy that basically rich guy. He just like uber rich guy with a bunch of other uber rich friends, and he basically loses his job at the beginning and then starts robbing his friends. The conceit is he's like stealing things from them that they won't even miss. But one thing he does still have is his Maserati, and he like gets rear-ended or something, and his trunk pops open. So whenever he starts up his car, the trunk pops open. Not every time, but once every episode, the first couple episodes, I'm like, I love this. It's like in episode 9, I'm expecting this is going to be a callback, and I'm like, what are they going to see when he's right in the middle of everybody and his trunk pops open? And then it opens every episode. Almost like you blew it. You guys blew it. Do you not trust anybody to remember that from that many episodes ago? Like, I don't. It really bothers me. You have such a good idea, and then you just don't trust your audience. Anyway, it's still good. No, it's a fun show. John Hamm's fun.
Didn't that make news a while back of like all these streaming executives telling the writers, make sure the characters say what they're doing, so if people aren't really paying attention, they can still follow along. Like,
right. Yeah.
They don't have any trust for the audience whatsoever.
Nope.
I did see that Michael J. Fox was cast in the upcoming season of Shrinking.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
That's probably going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there's that show with Ewan McGregor on Apple that called Long Way Down. There was Long Way Round, Long Way Up, Long Way Down. Now it's Long Way Home or something, where he rides motorcycles with his buddy. They've ridden all over the world for like 100,000 miles probably by now over the years. I was watching that. That was one of the things giving me the itch again. It just looks so fun. I want to do stuff like that. Not all like them, but just maybe around Ohio. It's good stuff to watch still. I think we're getting a dry spell here pretty soon. So
that's fine. There's always time to catch up on older stuff.
I got 1 million 4K movies.
Modern technology. It used to just be the show aired one night and you were maybe lucky to catch a rerun. Now it's just out there forever. You can watch old stuff and pretend it's new to you. If you didn't see it, it's new to you. That even was a sales pitch back in the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, slogan. There you go. Exciting. TV. There we go. How about it? Is that it? Or are we done?
Yep.
I'm good.
Thank God.
I think we're done. I think we're all done. So that means nothing left to do but wrap this up and go out. Right. Okay, let's get weird with it. We will be back before you know it. That's our promise to you.
Will we?
We are Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast, and my name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
Bye forever.
I have friends everywhere. Those words.
Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment. KPP can be found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, or email Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast @gmail.com. Join our Patreon page to help support the show at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and early access to episodes. We are grateful to anyone who chooses to contribute. Most of our content will remain free, so please click the thumbs up, like, share, and ask your friends. You Down with KPP?